Hey team, it is day 80. Hope you're doing well. Wanting to get into the goals, but one big question that I got was, what's the best way to get abs? And we'll go through that because I don't think we've talked about that. But you know, the ever six pack or have a flat stomach is some of the stuff you hear is a lot of people's goals. But we'll talk about that after we go through. So day 80, 10 days left. I know you guys can do this, keep going. 214.8, I stayed under 215 for 2 days in a row. 1886, 128 ounces of water. I took a rest day, just was feeling run down and things, didn't want to start to get sick. Made sure I got my sleep, and then 207 grams of protein. So just wanted to make sure that I'm not going to get sick, especially in the last 10 days. I want to finish things out and go from there. So, and it's not bad to take a rest day every once in a while, especially when your body tells you to. So, got a bunch of different colors here. So, what's the best way to get abs? So first I want to talk, two things I want to talk to you about abs, because there's just a few myths. And one of the myths is like crunches, or there's some sort of exercise that does a good job of giving you abs. There are a few ways that you can strengthen your core. I like to call them core strengthening exercises. So you can do weighted abs, you can do crunches, you can do all that type of stuff. But the biggest thing I like to do is what I call core work. And that is planks. That is, you got pulley. I always call them pulley abs. And anything other than, you got side planks as well. But I really like to do planks, pulley abs, side planks. That's kind of what I would say, and I'll just say ETC, anything else that does your core work. The one thing you want to do is you want to make sure you have a core, pretty strong core, and you want to keep it engaged. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that you use your abs and your core for a lot of things, for especially your bigger lifts like your squats. You should have your core tight when you do any kind of bench pressing, when you do any kind of standing exercises, any Olympic lifts. There's just every time you think about what you lift and when you do things, you're always engaging your core. When you do back, when you do chest, all of that. So your core is constantly engaging. A lot of people don't realize that, but your stomach, your core, your abs have to engage. So I say that the best way to do core work is planks. I always call them pulley abs. They're just overhead weighted abs, but they give you more flexibility, and side planks and etc. Any other work. Do some research. You'll find a few exercises and go from there. Now, the big thing people don't realize though is, in order to, what I like to say is get abs, you have to be, it's mainly dependent on two things, and that's body fat percentage and a little bit of genetics. And two factors. And what I mean by that is body fat percentage is, you'll probably hear that, abs are made in the kitchen. That's true for the most part. I mean, it is really. We are following a pretty decent calorie, water, sleep, kind of three main functions. But if you remember when we did some of the macro work, because I went stupid and had too low calories for a little while, if you really truly want to dial in on your abs, you have to get to a lower body fat percentage in order to see them. It's in order to see anything. I mean, you've probably been able to tell if you go back to day one of these videos and then you look now, you'll be able to see that my face is a little thinner, my chest, arms, all that kind of stuff. It's just, I'm just a little thinner. I mean, goodness sakes, almost 20 pounds thinner, right? So when you think about that, you're like, okay, if your face gets thinner, if your arms get thinner, I hear a lot of females say that, they lose them in their chest and they don't like, because they're like, hey, don't want to lose it there. I'd like to lose it here. And it always seems like it comes off the toughest places last. Well, for guys, especially like me, I mean, I told you my dad's like a cake pop. I told you that a while ago. I think it's day 3, but like that's where I keep my weight, is on my chest, my back, and especially around what my sisters call the pooch area. So for me to get abs, I got to be close to like that 12, 11, 10% body fat. I'm probably at 14, 15, maybe even higher right now. So what the actual is, and then the genetics, the reason I say genetics is genetics is just where you carry your weight, but in the same sense, there are just some people that it just seems like regardless of how they eat, regardless of what they do, they just stay pretty lean, and you can always see a decent amount of abs. And one of my buddies that I went to school with, he couldn't do like 20 crunches in a row, but it looked like he had an 8-pack all the time. It was just crazy. It was based on just his body fat, but dude would eat pizzas every night and stuff. It's just, even as he got older, even after he got into his mid-20s, 30s, where I started to really balloon up every time I ate stuff. So genetics does play a little bit of a part, but the biggest thing is body fat percentage. So for men, and then you say, so what body fat percentage you have to be? So men, body fat percentage, and it's a huge range. It's like anywhere from, I think it was like 7 to 17%. I like to say right around that 15% and lower is where I always say you start to see the abs at 15, and then you get down into these single digits, you're gonna see some damn good abs. I don't care what anybody says. You get that low. I mean, that's not quite that's close to competition level. Like people up on stage and they are dry and lean. That's crazy talk right there. I mean, 10% is good. 17%, that, you could see it at that. That's just what I researched, and that was the range. And then for females, body fat, it was 14 to 24%. And what I've heard for females is right around that 20% and lower. But again, this varies, you guys. This is like, these numbers are just average. So for me, it's basically, if your main goal is to see your abs, you need to know that it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a program to be on. It's going to take tracking your calories, but it's going to be tightening up on those calories and dialing in on your macronutrients. So the getting your macros thing, that becomes really important if you want to see a full 8-pack all the way down. And for me, it's a struggle between whether you want to keep your size, and stay decently bigger, have some decent size, or whether or not you want to maintain size and strength, or whether you want to see your 6-packs. And for me, it's working through that. When I've had a really good defined 6-pack, I've just lost strength. But as you shed your fat off your body and your pecs and your arms and things becomes more defined, you kind of get a little bit of both, but then you lose your strength as far as I'm able to push. But when you lose weight, it's hard to maintain every bit of muscle that you have. Some people say you can, maybe with drugs, but naturally, it's really hard to hold on to all your muscle as well. So as you start to go down into the ranges where you get towards these, that 15% lower where you can actually see your abs, I would just say that once you hit your set point, like I said, I hit my set point, and you push past that where your fat that really tough fat to get off, you're really going to have to dial in on your macronutrients. That's all I'm going to say. So I believe, can you do ab exercises? Yes. Do core work. You need core work just to be healthy, flexibility, core work. But in the same sense, if you really want to be able to see your abs, to get that, boom, 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 pack abs in. I mean, I can still feel the fat over the top of mine right now. You really have to dial in on what you're eating, your calories, test a little bit with your body. And then you got to maintain that for a while. Give yourself enough time to make sure. But if that's your main goal, that's not bad to have that goal. Some coach clients, it's a waist size. For some, it's for a couple females, it's a dress size, going from like a size 16 down to a size 10. Making it from a size into a different size. For everyone, it's different. The one thing I do know, and I'm gonna cover this on day 90 as well, is the one thing I have learned is having just a solo weight, a number on a scale, is probably not the best way to approach this, unless you're going for like a specific BMI for your height and build. That might be okay, but then what are you really shooting for? For me, I like the idea of a pant size or a dress size or a waist size, or I want to see my abs. Those are really tangible goals, and you can measure those by just looking at yourself. And overall, if you're recompositioning, replacing some of that body fat with muscle, literally muscle weighs more than fat. We know that. So you may not get the scale to roll down, but your body will start to become leaner, get more defined, but you may not shed as much weight. So be careful when doing just a straight weight goal, unless it's like, hey, I got to lose 30 pounds to get out of the BMI over 30 range. I want to get between 27 and 30. You're probably okay with a weight goal then, but just remember, when you get to a certain point is when you're going to have to tighten up. And you'll see it. I saw it. I mean, it was 215 for me, 215, 216 for me. You guys saw it. I mean, it's been, 20 days. I mean, it's been a month, since I was at 215. And that's when I was skinny fat, what I like to say skinny fat. But yeah, so you'll find your spot and then you got to go up and down. But in order to see your abs, it's largely body fat. Abs are truly made in what you eat in the kitchen, and that just means you have to follow a specific diet to get to that point for you. It can be anywhere in these ranges to where you can see your abs. So hopefully that answers your question. If not, leave some comments, ask an additional, let me know. But other than that, I appreciate all your support. I love how I'm getting the questions. People are asking. It's fun to talk about the things I know, but it also makes me continue to do research on more and more things. I mean, this one's pretty easy, but there are some questions that I just have really enjoyed this. So thank you very much for all your support. I appreciate it. Keep them coming. 10 days left. Any additional content you want to see, anything you want to know, let me know. Obviously, I'm going to keep this going past the 90 days, but I just want to make sure that we can round this out really well with a strong 10 days of content, and then go through a results section and everything like that. So hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much again for your support, and as always, I look forward to talking tomorrow. Thanks again.